Hey YouTube, welcome back to the channel. My name is Brian and I am sharing with you, the viewer, my 25 years of automotive industry experience, from being a mechanic to sales to various other aspects within the industry. And so this video today I'm pretty excited about. It's going to be a little bit of knowledge to let you know why auto repair and maintenance is so expensive. For starters, all the vehicles out there are designed to be visually appealing to the buyers and catch the eye and make you desire to own one day. And one of the, some of those aspects are just, being sporty, being having the latest wheel and tire packages, the latest trends, and things of that nature. So it's designed to catch your eye and make you go, hey, I want to go get one of those. But you don't make too much further thought beyond that as far as once I've paid out money to purchase this vehicle, what's the maintenance going to be, or what's the annual cost of maintenance and repair and upkeep. So this video is going to be to help you understand why certain vehicles, the maintenance is so expensive and things like that. But to start off, engineers and the automotive manufacturers, they just want the vehicle to be visually appealing, to catch your eye, to make you desire to buy it. And that's what helps sell them. And then they also want the vehicle to be able to do a certain thing. For instance, get great fuel economy. So when the manufacturers and the engineers come together and they have their meeting whenever they're designing and planning these vehicles, they may say, hey, I want it to seat 6 people and get 45 miles to the gallon. So the engineers come together and they say, okay, how do I make this vehicle visually appealing, fit it all together, and make it get 45 miles to the gallon? But they do not consult the technicians that are going to be working on these cars in the future. So what happens is they put the vehicle together, achieve the statistic that they set out to achieve, and then sell the vehicle and put it out into the consumer's hand. So what happens at that point is parts are created from the manufacturers. Some parts have a trademark through the manufacturers to where only that specific manufacturer can make that specific part for so many years without third-party parts manufacturers making that part. So that's why on some makes and models, when you need a part, it's expensive, and that's because the dealer has the trademark on it and it's a dealer-only part. So when we get into the labor and the maintenance, a lot of people balk at the labor cost. Well, the labor costs are what the garage or the individual mechanic sets as his hourly rate for doing the work on the vehicle. And the labor rate is going to be determined by several things. One, first off, is going to be the type of repair that it is. How involved is it? How complicated is it going to be to access the part? Now, mind you, like I said before, these engineers that design the vehicle, they just get it out there on the road, and how does it fit, make the parts fit in the compact space to get it out there. They're not concerned about the mechanic that's going to touch it and repair it down the road. Some are, some are not. But so from the repair shop perspective, when the vehicle gets in there for them to repair, then it's based on experience and routine and repetition that a service technician or mechanic gets to learn the vehicle, learn the parts, learn how the process is done from start to finish, and has developed a skill set that over time they know the workarounds and the ins and outs of those parts and repairs that can cause hangups, or sometimes bolts are prone to sticking, or a part that's prone to not want to come off easily. So because of the mechanic's years of experience, to know exactly how to work around that part to get it repaired, that experience is valuable. So therefore, the mechanic experience, level of expertise and experience working on that vehicle or that manufacturer's part is going to determine the hourly rate. Sometimes garages uses a labor index or a labor guide to determine what to bill a customer for a repair. You know, for instance, his labor guide might say it takes 2.5 hours to replace a starter. So that's what you're going to expect to get billed on, is that 2.5 hours at whatever rate that is, whether it's some shops are $100 an hour labor, some are 150, 175, and it varies. It depends on your state and your area and region and things like that. Those hourly labor rates are, you know, in my book, they're fine. They're A-okay, and I believe that, you know, the mechanics and garages have every right to charge that based on their experience in getting that in and out. So I don't have any argument with what they choose to bill as far as an hourly rate for labor. I know it adds up, but the reason it adds up so much is because they're billing either by actual hours or their actual time that it takes them to make that repair, or they're using the labor guide. And sometimes it can go either way. I've seen shops that they bill by the labor guide, but maybe it don't take them the full amount of time. I know it don't take me a lot of what the book says to do certain things. Sometimes it's taking me over what the book says. And the labor guide is just an average of so many mechanics. What they do is, how they get that number is they have so many mechanics do the same job, and they take the average of however long it took them, and they compile it together, and that's what they say is the standard rate at which standard time that it should take to complete that job. So that's how that's determined. Some repairs are 2.5 hours. Some repairs are 6 hours. Some repairs are 8+ hours. Sometimes an engine overhaul and rebuild on certain models, 12+ hours. So if you have that particular model or that engine, well, then you're going to expect to pay at least 12.5 hours or plus of labor on top of whatever parts it needs and shop equipment, things like that. On top of whatever tow bill you may have had to get it to the garage. So I wanted to make this video to explain more in detail about why the auto repairs are so high. And it's not so much the labor rate, but it's the skill in which the skill of the mechanic that's involved. You know, if they're a master technician that's working on your vehicle, then you know you're paying for that experience and that expertise of knowing exactly what to do, when to do it, though, and so on and so forth. I know it's not always great to break the news to a customer of how much it's going to be to repair a vehicle. And the number one thing that I think is, I'm going to call it ridiculous, is your higher end vehicles. You know, your Lexus, Mercedes, BMW, those upper tier vehicles. The reason they cost more, and the reason I say it's kind of, you know, a farcity, is the fact that the majority of the people that afford those vehicles and buy those vehicles, they're not going to do their own maintenance anyway. They're never really going to pop their hood. But what they're going to do is they're going to pop their hood, and you're going to pop your hood, and all you're going to see is a bunch of plastic. They put a lot of these plastic covers over the engines and around components and things like that have to be removed in order to perform a repair. Well, the problem with that is, being the owner is never going to pop their hood to look at that. That then goes to the technician, who has to remove those components to then get to and access the part that is malfunctioned and replace it. So therefore, guess who gets the bill for that? The mechanic's not going to just take that plastic off and waste 10 minutes for nothing. They're going to bill that, right? So that gets billed as time. So, you know, my biggest gripe is these manufacturers that put all this plastic on the vehicle that creates more work for the mechanic, which then in turn gets trickled down to the consumer. And that's part of the reason why your repair bills can be more than what you really want to pay, because that all adds up. Because whenever you're paying for a repair that's $150 an hour labor, and the mechanic has to waste 10 to 15 minutes removing plastics that you, the owner, never look at yourself, that all adds up. So I will say all of the added plastics from these manufacturers on these higher end vehicles, maybe they should rethink that one. But then again, maybe they're trying to be savvy, because maybe they're banking on the fact that, say, Lexus or Mercedes or BMW, you're going to take it to the dealer, to that dealer or that manufacturer's dealership to get your vehicle repaired. So it's a way for them to squeeze an extra few bucks out of you. So just be mindful of that, you know, when you're considering your next vehicle. And I know, you know, as Americans, it's easy to have that dream of one day owning a Mercedes or one day owning a Lexus, BMW, et cetera, but just know and factor in before you pull the trigger on purchasing one of these vehicles to think about the maintenance. Think about what the maintenance is going to be on it, and maybe call around and say, hey, what is I'm considering a 2023 BMW. Maybe call the dealer, talk to the service department and say, hey, is any of these came back in, or what's some common issues that you've seen from out of the factory, before you consider paying a lot of hard-earned money on a vehicle that could be a nightmare for repairs. But just want to make this quick video, give y'all a heads up on that. And I haven't forgot about my promise to you about the upcoming video where garages are going to be upset at me. Now, I didn't want to get them too upset at me on this vehicle, or not vehicle, but this video. But I do intend on making that video here in the future. And maybe if we can get this video to maybe 100 likes, then I'll consider making that video about the garages that's going to be upset with me. Maybe I'll do that one as a live video. But stay tuned. Please like, comment, subscribe, and God bless.